And hello everyone, back to another video. Welcome back to the channel. So today it's time to dive into a topic that's very dear to my heart. Something that I predicted for a very, very long time. Sixers fans don't really like Ben Simmons anymore. I used to go to school in Pennsylvania. I lived in the dorm, right? And I'm from Charlotte. I'm a big Hornets guy. So I always had this argument with my friend from Pennsylvania. And the argument was, Kemba Walker is better than Ben Simmons. Now, Kemba Walker didn't have the best year either. But right now, if you look at the media and you ask a lot of members in the media, you ask coaches around the league, Ben Simmons is not better than Kemba Walker. Now, with that being said, I want to dive into this video to talk about why I actually don't think that they should trade him. I don't think the Sixers should trade Ben Simmons. I do think that they should have traded him last year, and they should have traded him the year before. But now, his trade value is so down. I'll explain why I don't think they should trade him. Let's get into the video.
Then it would be missing. The flow is distracted. That's cataclysmic. You off with a hook. We never was fishing. I live in the present. I am so gifted. How are you raining? Cause you are not water. The steam it be coming. I must be a sauna. Peculiar flow made me sound like a born. And I'm always on point like I'm turning a corner.
This Ben Simmons thing means one thing. And it shows one thing that I think that a lot of times players and coaches and owners like to deny. That the media doesn't really affect the sport. That they don't need the media is not important. But the reason it is because it controls narratives. And it really does. And whether they think they do or not, owners and coaches and scouts, they listen to narratives. More than they think that they do. Because I know they hear it, right? If you're an owner for a team or you're a coach and your player's constantly being derailed in the media, you're going to think, man, there has to be a reason why they're saying all these things about this player. Like, some of the stuff they're saying has to have some truth to it, even if you don't agree with it. Now, Ben Simmons, right? I've always said that. I think he was a little overrated in his career. His second year in the league was by far his best year that he's had so far. In his second year in the league, he averaged 16.9 points per game, 8.8 rebounds, and 7.7 assists. The points and the rebounds, his career highs. This year, his numbers have dipped down significantly. Averaging 14.3 points per game, 7.2 rebounds per game, and 6.9 assists. All which are the lowest of his career. Not to mention that after his performance in the playoffs, teams are not going to look at Ben Simmons as they once would. And it's kind of like the way that the James Harden trade or Kawhi Leonard trade works, right? If you have a player and he's playing for a team and he decides that he doesn't want to play for them anymore, and he starts going in the media, he starts saying, I don't want to play for you, I don't want to play for you, all that does is drop their trade value for the team that's trying to trade them. Because they're saying, oh, like, I don't have to give you the best offer to get this guy because I know that you're trying to get rid of him. You have no choice. He doesn't want to play for you, so you have to get rid of him. So that means you can give him less and less. The same with Ben Simmons, right? Everyone in the league is talking about how Ben Simmons should be traded. Everyone thinks he should be traded, which means that they're not going to get as much for him as they would prior. Now, I've always thought they should have traded him and picked a different guard for Joel Embiid. They can get like a... If you would have traded Ben Simmons 2 years ago, even last year, you probably could have gotten Bradley Beal for Ben Simmons. Straight up. Think about how deadly that would be in Philadelphia. Bradley Beal, Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, Seth Curry, Danny Green, shooters galore around Joel Embiid, which is what they should be doing in the first place. Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid won't work together, but I think that the only option at this point is to keep Ben Simmons and keep Joel Embiid, at least for this year. Because now the best that they can get is maybe CJ McCollum. Maybe, and I don't know if I would trade CJ McCollum for Ben Simmons right now. So that's the biggest problem. You know, and when the Lakers tried to trade Kobe Bryant back in the day when he played for the Lakers, the reason why they wouldn't trade him is they didn't want to trade him, so they said Kobe was like a 5-carat diamond. And Max Kellerman says this all the time. Kobe was a 5-carat diamond, and they didn't want to trade Kobe to another team where they get 5 1-carat diamonds, because it just wasn't worth the same. You know? It just, if you see a guy walking down the street, right, and he has 5 watches that are all worth, I don't know, that are all worth $100,000. No, that's a lot. Let's say 5 watches all worth $100. But you see a guy that's walking with one $500 watch. Which is going to be more effective? which is going to draw more positive attention. That's the biggest deal here. So you don't want to trade Ben Simmons for a whole bunch of little role players because the Sixers, they won't get to the finals if they don't have another star. So what I think they should do is, I think they should either keep them together and really try to work on Simmons' skill development this year and get his trade value back up and then trade him next year, or maybe they should trade Joel Embiid. Now, I know this sounds crazy, but Joel Embiid's trade value after these playoffs and in general is so high. Although he's been getting injured, he didn't get hurt that much this playoffs, which is a big deal for him, rises his trade value, and they can build around Simmons instead of building around Embiid, which is something that they haven't been doing. They've been trying to build around both of them, and everyone knows it's just not going to work. You trade Joel Embiid, and you can get almost anybody in the league that you want to pair with him. Somebody who can shoot the ball, right? Joel Embiid, you can get a Damian Lillard type guy even for him. Or anybody you really want to pair with Ben Simmons. And I think you put Ben Simmons at the power forward because he was never meant to be a point guard in the first place. And I know Sixers fans are not going to want to trade Joel Embiid because he's their guy and they still believe in him and they love him, which is fair. You either trade Embiid or you keep both of them. But you can't trade Simmons this year because you're not going to get enough value for him. As much as I don't like Ben Simmons as a player, I don't think his game is going to correlate to a team that can make the championship. The kind of value that they get for Ben Simmons in this trade is not how much he's worth. He's worth way more than they'll get for him in this trade. So I think they really need to think about trading Joel Embiid and keeping Ben Simmons.